Well, good evening, everybody. Hey, Lauren, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Nate?
I'm good. Hey, Missy. Hey,
Hi.
Kelly. So great to have you guys tonight. This is going to be so fun. We're so excited about this evening. I see that we have a lot of attendees already joining us tonight. So if you are, already in here in the room, I know that a lot of you have been chatting already. We'd encourage you to chat and tell us where you are this evening. And if you want to throw in what the weather's like where you are, it's kind of like our common theme because we serve everybody across the nation and beyond. We tend to talk about the weather a lot. It is a very nice winter, but not winter here in Florida. I think it was 80 degrees today, and I absolutely love it. My wife, on the other hand, would like it to still be a little bit cooler because it's only March. So if you want to tell us what the weather's like where you are in the chat, we'd love to hear from you. Missy, how is the weather in Kentucky today?
Very rainy. Very rainy, but it's getting warm, and I am so happy because I got my seeds started for my garden, and I get to wear my sandals again, and we've been out playing in the sun because it gets so gray in the winter here. So anytime it's been sunny, we're just immediately outside. So yesterday we ate dinner on our back porch, and it's been amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. So my wife actually pulled up a Facebook memory today. So some of you may not know, I lived in Louisville, Kentucky for about 5 years. We left there 7.5 years ago, and 12 years ago today there was snow in Louisville. So we were looking at pictures of snow in Louisville on whatever day today is. What, March the 5th? 12 years ago. So Kelly, what about you? How's the weather?
It is not as warm as I would like it to be, but we are definitely, you can feel that it's coming. I made a joke to a friend of mine today. I said, which one of us moms is going to be the one to curse us and switch out our winter and summer clothes? Because as soon as one of us does that, it inevitably snows. So
Right.
I'm holding out as long as possible. So, but yeah, the blooms are starting to bloom, and there's definitely summer and spring coming quickly, but not quickly enough for me because I want it to be hot.
Yeah, that's great. I know. You guys all envy us for part of the year. Once, like at the end of winter, most people start envying Florida. Like, can it just warm up? But then you're like, no, I don't want all the heat that Florida has. So, Lauren, I imagine it's nice in Texas today. I know that you even took a trip to Waco this week. So was it nicer in Waco than Dallas, or about the same?
It was about the same. Yeah, I popped over to Magnolia. All the women can be jealous of me. If you know what Magnolia is, you know what Magnolia is, right? So I did some shopping with a friend real quick, like popped over there and popped back to Dallas. But we have been in the 70s. We've got one more cold front hitting us towards the end of the week, and then I think we're going to commit to spring. And that's what Texas does, is Texas can't make up its mind, right?
No, you get fake spring, and then you get winter, and then you get real. Yeah, we get it too. They're like, oh, there's fake spring. Yeah.
Yeah. We go back and forth for a little bit, and then it makes a decision, and then we go back and forth again, and then we make a decision. So, Texas,
funny.
there you go. The promised land.
Yep. Well, that's what Lauren always calls it. So we'll argue about the promised land on another night. That is not what we're here for tonight. But we are so glad that each and every one of you have joined us tonight. We are going to have a really great conversation tonight. This is going to be a great event. So we're really looking forward to it and very grateful for each of you who have joined us tonight. Lauren, it's about 6 after the bottom of the hour. Did you want to get started? Or
I think it's about time to get going. Let's do it.
Okay, great. And Lauren, just to make sure that I'm not missing something, do you have to hit a magic record button, or is that already happening?
That's already happening. You just get to start talking whenever you want.
Awesome. Well, if everybody's ready, we'll get going. So let's start. Well, good evening and welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Why Pro-Lifers Are Being Imprisoned and Whether It's Worth It, sponsored by Sidewalk Advocates for Life. Thank you for making time to learn about the truth behind recent highly charged headlines, how a peaceful, prayerful, and law-abiding approach can save lives and witness miracles, and how you can be a part of ending abortion in our country. I'm Nate Robertson, Vice President of Sidewalk Advocates for Life, and it is my great joy to be your MC for our evening together for our time together this evening. Last year, by God's grace, Sidewalk Advocates for Life reached an incredible milestone. We were able to celebrate 20,000 preborn babies saved from abortion and their mothers served. Tonight, I'm just incredibly grateful to be able to share with you a new milestone. As just barely 3 months into the year of 2024, we have now reached the milestone of 22,000 lives saved, mothers served, and saved from abortion and mothers served, thanks to the loving outreach of Sidewalk Advocates. And really, these are just the numbers we know of. We believe that there's many more that we won't know until we reach heaven one day. Best of all, these miracles have happened in the simplest of ways. No confrontations, no handcuffs, no police face-offs. Instead, Sidewalk Advocates have stood outside abortion and abortion referral facilities in rain and snow, wind and heat, like we've talked about tonight regarding the weather, armed with a smile, a gift bag filled with life-affirming resources, and the love of Christ. They have prayed, they have reached out in peace and love, and they have done so without having to break the law, even if those laws are wrong. And that's not all. Thanks to the intercession of loving Sidewalk Advocates, 88 eternal souls have left the abortion industry, and 55 abortion facilities have closed their doors for good. To God be the glory. We celebrate each and every milestone, each and every family saved from the anguish of abortion, but that does not mean that we get complacent. On the contrary, we know that despite Roe being overturned, there's much work ahead of us. And it's not only the work of reaching out to abortion vulnerable women and men, it's also the hard work of changing hearts and minds about the inherent dignity of human life, the innate evil of abortion, and the power of a peaceful, prayerful, and law-abiding approach to turn the tide for life. The fact is, as we go out to the sidewalk as the hands and feet of Christ, we are no longer simply facing down the abortion industry. We are facing down a furiously pro-abortion administration and a Department of Justice that is weaponized and ready to deploy a full-on attack against the First Amendment rights of pro-life people and organizations, while woefully ignoring vandalism and violence against pregnancy help organizations and volunteers. But we do not back down in the face of these attacks. No, we sure don't. And we do not despair. In fact, we have incredible news to share with you tonight. Despite the efforts of a pro-abortion federal government that has weaponized the DOJ, peaceful sidewalk advocacy is winning the battle for life. So here are the three things we're going to cover tonight. First, the facts behind the recent FACE Act convictions of pro-life activists. Number two, how peaceful and law-abiding sidewalk outreach is saving lives. And number three, how you can be a part of a winning strategy to ending abortion. And you're going to want to stay to the very end of the hour because we'll be making a huge announcement, an opportunity you'll be given to save lives and counter the abortion industry like never before. So be sure to stay with us. To facilitate this incredibly important discussion this evening, we have with us Missy-Martinez Stone, President and CEO of the Center for Client Safety, Kelly Lester, Outreach and Government Engagement Coordinator for And Then There Were None and Pro-Life Ministries, and none other than Lauren Muzyka, President, CEO of Sidewalk Advocates for Life, the largest pro-life sidewalk outreach organization in America. Give us this hour and we'll give you the vital information you need to realize the dream of an abortion-free America. With all that in mind, let's kick things off with a word of prayer, if you would pray with me. Dear Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity that we have to join together this evening. Thank you for what you are doing across America for the cause of life, as we, people of faith and conscience, continue to be well-equipped and reach out to men and women in their most desperate need. May you bless our time together tonight. May you bless this conversation. May we continue to journey together for a more effective approach to reaching women and men in need, so that we can know that we have done everything we can to be as effective as possible for as long as possible to save as many as possible. We're so grateful for all the miracles that you've done. We're so thankful to be called by you and to be a part of this great mission. God, help us to continue to be focused on the goal, which is to make sure that all humans are truly valued for the humanity that they have. God, we pray that you would continue to bless us this evening. We'll continue to give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. And now let's get down to it. I want to introduce Lauren Muzyka, founder, president, and CEO of Sidewalk Advocates for Life.
Thank you so much, Nate. Good to see all of you. We want you guys chatting the entire hour. This is a real dynamic topic for us to cover, so we'd love your thoughts as we go along. This is a very important, very sensitive issue, and I'm just so thankful that we feel like we can come together and have it. As you all know, recently 6 pro-life activists in Tennessee were convicted supposedly for singing hymns outside of an abortion facility. And of course, that begs the question, what does that mean for all of us, many of us who participate in prayer and outreach outside of an abortion or abortion referral facility, and for all of us in regards to our free speech rights? It's so important for all of us with a heart for life to understand what really happened in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, exactly 3 years ago today. Now, real quick, before we dive in, a little bit of a disclaimer. I want to address actually right up front a concern from a couple pro-life citizens who reached out to me ahead of this webcast. And, they just asked whether or not it was fair to those individuals who are in jail, sitting in jail tonight, or those pending sentencing to hold this discussion. After all, aren't these people who share our heart for Christ and for life? And so isn't it important that we all stand together right now? And I just wanted to thank them for that question. First, I want everybody to know that the reason we're hosting this monumentally important discussion is because this is a public matter. The media is discussing it. The public is discussing it. The pro-life movement is discussing it. And even more so, the group behind modern day law-breaking approaches is actively recruiting. And they're especially recruiting young people. And a lot of young people do not realize that they could be thrown into federal prison for a decade, that they could be branded felons, and they wouldn't be able to then vote or adopt a child or own a firearm or enter certain countries. I don't know if you all know that felons are not permitted to enter certain countries around the world. So this is serious. We have to ask ourselves, if we take this approach, and are we seeing fruit, right? That's a fair question in light of all of that. In fact, a friend of our ministry, so this was around 2017, 2018, with this, minor resurgence of modern day law-breaking tactics, she participated in one of these incidents, and she told me personally that she was never briefed on these risks. And then she went to the sidewalk. This is so interesting. She went to the sidewalk the next day to Sidewalk Council in her community and helped to save 3 babies. She didn't see any fruit from the law-breaking approach the day before, goes to the sidewalk, works within the confines of her First Amendment rights, and walks 3 women over to the life-affirming pregnancy center next door. And she has repeatedly urged us to have this discussion so that others don't miss what she did. And the second thing I would say is that if we love the mothers and children that we are serving, and we all want to save as many as possible and shut down as many abortion facilities as possible peacefully and prayerfully, then we have to have this discussion, right? I love the idea that we tonight are literally trading notes about what is working and what is not. And I really just kind of want to affirm our standard here at Sidewalk Advocates for Life, that we will never make personal attacks. We don't insult people. We don't degrade people. That's below us as a people of faith and conscience, right? We understand that this is more sensitive right now because real people who love innocent children may go to prison for a very long time. But I'm also proud of the fact that we're unafraid to invite robust discussion about strategy because lives and souls are on the line. This movement, this cause is too important not to. It is not about us. I know this is a very personal ministry to so many people, myself included. But it's not about us, right? It's about how we save the most mothers and children possible. Okay, so in that spirit, now that you know that, right, let's go ahead and turn back to the matter at hand, and let's just kind of talk about some facts. The pro-life demonstrators in Tennessee were convicted under the FACE Act. That's the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act that was signed into law in the early 90s by President Clinton. And they were charged under this for blocking the door of an abortion facility by sitting in front of it. Now, we heard some out in the media. I even heard some in the pro-life movement say that they were arrested for singing hymns outside of an abortion facility. And that's actually not true. They were singing hymns while they were seated in front of the door, right? Now, there are a couple individuals that when you look at the pictures, look at the video, they were actually right in front of the door, and other people lined the hallway. Now, the plain fact is they were on private property. They were in a multi-unit facility, technically not in the disposition of trespassers because someone with authority would have had to ask them to leave. The police asked them to leave, but that's not somebody with authority over the property. So they weren't in a disposition of a trespasser, but they did trigger the FACE Act, right? Okay, now this is on the heels of another conviction we learned about last August. In that case, there were 5 pro-life activists. So again, this was just last fall, who entered a famous late-term Washington, D.C. abortion facility, and they used their bodies, furniture, chains, and ropes to block the entrance to the facility. One of the facility clients testified, this is what she said, that one of the activists grabbed at her and told her that she was going to hell. Surveillance video shows the activists at one point physically struggling, at least some of them physically struggling with abortion facility employees. Now, we're not saying that they initiated that. We don't know exactly what happened. But when you are employing an approach like this, the emotional temperature gets really high, really fast, right? People are scrambling, they're calling the police, and it's really hard to have a productive conversation in the midst of all of that. And sometimes things happen. These individuals that are employing this approach are part of what they call a modern day rescue movement. Their disposition is they typically trespass onto private property purportedly to offer help to the mothers inside. But as these two situations demonstrate, they quickly switch from a help-oriented disposition to a protest disposition, blocking the doors or passages inside or just outside of the abortion facility. Now, as you may imagine, the Biden administration has just jumped at the chance to charge anyone who is pro-life, right, and who has participated in this tactic under the FACE Act, which, quote, prohibits threats of force, obstruction, and property damage intended to interfere with reproductive healthcare services. Now, we may disagree that these facilities are deserving of the title healthcare services, deserving of such unique treatment. But unfortunately, this is just the reality. This is the law. It's a chess piece on the board that we just have to acknowledge, right? So now these individuals are facing up to 10 or 11 years in federal prison. The activists who entered the facility in DC may be facing a longer sentence, as well as hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. And I just want y'all to know my heart. My heart aches for these individuals, right? I would much rather that abortionists are going to jail. And I continue to be frustrated by the unjust use of the FACE Act, which on its face should apply to pro-life pregnancy centers as well as abortion facilities. The current administration aggressively uses the FACE Act to prosecute pro-life individuals and almost never charges someone who has, for example, vandalized a pregnancy center. Remember when all that was going on, when there was the leak at the Supreme Court of the Dobbs decision, and then we had to wait for the decision to be handed down, and it seemed like chaos had ensued around our pregnancy resource centers. They were getting vandalized. There was violent graffiti written on their walls, right? The Biden administration could have charged more people under the FACE Act in these cases. They had the chance to do it, and they didn't. And it's outrageously unfair. But again, it shouldn't surprise any one of us. And the truth of it is that it's foolish to willfully break the law when doing so doesn't really get results. And that's where sidewalk advocacy and prayer in front of an abortion facility really shines, where it really comes in. You know, you already heard from Nate the results of peaceful, prayerful, law-abiding outreach. And we give God all the glory for that, first and foremost, right? And these are just the saves that we know about. We will never know this side of heaven how many thousands more lives were ultimately saved from abortion because of the loving, hope-filled outreach of peaceful, prayerful sidewalk advocates outside of a facility, near a mobile pregnancy clinic, or out in the community. Research has shown and experience has proven that and this is kind of what we coined in our ministry as far as our approach, the mom, baby, God approach works. And it's effective, right? So it comes from the idea that we as pro-lifers have things in the right order. God comes first, a mother puts her child before herself. So the right or the natural order, one could argue, is God, baby, mom. But a woman in crisis mode, a woman in self-preservation mode has all of that inverted. She's in crisis. So she's thinking, I just got to get out of the situation, pushing baby to the recesses of her mind, pushing God even further away, because if she stopped to think about what he might say about this, she might change her mind, and that scares her. And so we teach sidewalk advocates, just as Christ has met us in our great need, to go meet these hurting women where they're at so that their heart is more open to baby and to God. So our first goal has to be to engage the woman to discover why she's at the abortion facility. Is it finances? Is it problems with her partner? Is she scared that she's going to get kicked out of the house? And yes, we hear this at the abortion facility. Mom and dad tell her, you have nowhere to live if you don't go have this abortion. What about anxiety in regards to finishing school or advancing in her career, right? Again, these may not be good reasons to take the life of a child, but women really are thrown into a multitude of crisis over these things, especially when everybody around them has left them. They've left them to figure this out. Again, her heart will not be open to hearing about her child or about Christ if she does not know that we love, care about her situation first. And then once we address her and offer her resources and reassurance that we will be that community, that we will be Christ to her, then we can begin to paint a picture of life in her womb and talk about baby and talk about the humanity of her child, right? And then finally, we aim to share with her the love of Christ. And in the course of our outreach, bottom line, we're focusing on creating a safe, confidential space, and we avoid anything that could paint us as unapproachable or threatening, because you might imagine, right, as we're walking into a stranger's life, if she does not feel like we are someone who is trustworthy, someone who is safe, we will lose the conversation before it even begins. And that includes doing anything illegal. I mean, think about this, guys. We are in the era of school shootings. And even should we pledge to be peaceful when we're walking into an abortion facility and even employing a law-breaking tactic, they don't know us from Adam. They don't know what we're going to do next, right? And so that's why it's so paramount that when we go to an abortion facility and we want to interface with moms, we consider doing something like signing a pledge of integrity, right? We have all of our volunteer sidewalk advocates sign this. They promise to abide by the law and to be a peaceful, prayerful presence on the sidewalk. Not because we want to make the abortion industry happy, but because that's who she needs us to be. This method has helped us to build relationships with thousands of women and their families when they encounter us in a dire moment of need, thereby saving their precious children. Now, in regards to those employing a law-breaking approach, and again, I think we just kind of have to look at this objectively tonight. It's just hard to discern the perceived win of shutting down a facility for a few hours while police are called just to have abortion appointments rescheduled at that facility or one nearby. And that's the testimony of workers who have actually witnessed some of this. Workers with, and then there were non-abortion worker ministry. You're going to hear from one of them tonight, right? It neither helps the pro-life movement nor a pregnant woman in crisis when pro-life individuals are arrested and dragged from the scene. Experience has now shown that rarely is a life saved from this approach. That's something, that we've really got to listen to. Rarely is a life saved from this approach. It really isn't winning anyone over to the pro-life side from what we've heard. And it's removing desperately needed pro-life people from public ministry. We've got to win the public to win these remaining 36 states that are not on our side for life tonight, right? On top of that, breaking any law outside of an abortion facility gives state and city governments fodder to create unconstitutional buffer or bubble zones. And what those do is they push pro-life people back from the front door of a facility or back from a client. And it can seriously limit our ability to interact with abortion-minded women. So when you have one of these one-off law-breaking incidents, it gives the city and state fodder to, as needed, to pass one of these bubble or buffer zone ordinances. And the people who are out there every day reaching out to the women, praying in front of these facilities, right? That can hamper their daily, their weekly, their monthly, their yearly ministry to provide loving outreach that is saving lives. Our first crisis truly at an abortion facility is doing what's proven to save the most preborn children, not making a public statement, both in the short and long term. That's the first crisis. Someone is walking in there to take the life of their child. What do we need to do? Who do we need to be for her, right? And we can provide immediate intentional support to her and her child. We can connect her with her local life-affirming pregnancy resource center and beyond. We can help her to stand strong in any situation pressuring her to take the life of her precious child. We do this on the sidewalk miraculously within our legal limits, and it is draining the abortion industry of business. We have seen it 55 times. In a little while here, we're going to talk with Missy-Martinez Stone about how to shut down an abortion facility in the modern era permanently, not just for a few hours, but permanently. But right now, I want to go ahead and bring someone else into the conversation. I want to introduce my dear friend, Kelly Lester, who's going to give us an inside perspective on how law-breaking approaches affect the abortion industry. It's so, so important. Kelly is a popular speaker on so many topics, sharing her testimony as a woman who has experienced the trauma of abortion and who worked in the abortion industry. Today, she has dual roles, working both with pro-love ministries and then there were none, abortion worker ministry, walking with workers who were leaving the industry in search of life-affirming work. Kelly, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Can you hear me, Kelly?
I can. Can you hear me? I'm having all kinds of issues.
We can hear you great. So how are you tonight?
Good. I'm good. I hope you didn't ask me a question because I couldn't hear anything.
No, you're good. We just asked you how you were and you answered it beautifully. So
fantastic.
All right. Let's dive into the first question. You know, Kelly, we have been talking about the results of modern day rescue efforts. I know, again, we're not litigating the rescues of the 80s and 90s. We're just talking about modern day rescue efforts, right? I know that former Planned Parenthood clinic director, Abby Johnson, your boss, has spoken about what happens at an abortion facility in the wake of one of these incidents, the frantic rescheduling of abortion appointments and so forth. Given your unique perspective, having seen this from multiple vantage points, you know, someone who experienced abortion multiple times and has helped a multitude of workers leave the industry, what can you share about your perspective on this approach and whether it's effective?
Well, Lauren, I think you covered it when you talked about, you know, the issues with it. First off, it only shuts down the facility temporarily, if at all. Secondly, when it is shut down, so when we were instructed that when something like this happened, the first goal is to get the women, the patients, to the back of the facility. So that is your first goal, to get them safe. Because you also said this, with the school shootings and all of the things that are going on, with the marketing and the media and what is being told about pro-lifers, we're crazy. We're extremists. We're waiting to run people over with our car and bomb the facility. If you don't believe that, watch an episode of Grey's Anatomy. They go all through how crazy pro-lifers are. And so there's already this perception that that is what pro-lifers are like. And so when we do these kinds of rescues, we step into that actual persona, even though that's not who we are. And so the workers are instructed, because pro-life people are so crazy and so extreme, that if somebody enters in a situation like a rescue, to take the patients to the back and get them safe. The next thing that you're instructed to do is make them appointments in the next day, the next 48 hours. If you're unable to do it at your facility because of time, you know, because of gestational age, find another facility for them to go in and to make that appointment. So you may be delaying their abortion by hours, maybe days, but while they are back there, they are setting up that next appointment. The other thing is that we are seeing this be used by the abortion industry as a fundraiser, as a marketing campaign, and raising awareness, again, of how crazy pro-lifers are. And so not only are you not helping the women, not only are you furthering the workers to think you're crazy, but the public perception is that we don't care about women. We're not there to help. We're extremists and we're violent, and then raising money for the abortion industry. So on all sides, it is a fail 100%.
It is such an interesting perspective, like seeing it through your eyes and the eyes of the workers that you are serving, right? And I think that's probably the most powerful witness and voice in all this. What actually happens, what you were trained to do, right? And what I hear in that is when those women are pulled to the back room, what you've done is drawn a line in the sand. Now, the dangerous pro-lifers are going to be arrested. They're going to get, taken away from the scene. Ain't nobody walking anybody over to a pregnancy resource center, right? And I know from my over 20 years on the sidewalk that that's so unfortunate, that access, because so many times we will see clients go in and out of a facility at least a couple times. Like boyfriend runs to the car, the partner comes out on the porch and is smoking a cigarette. That's an opportunity to talk and to get them to go in there and to take information in there, right? We have an opportunity maybe to catch someone at the driveway a couple of different times. And so access really is everything. And so now in the aftermath of the 80s and 90s rescues, especially knowing that nowadays people are trained to do this, in a season with school shootings, it really is something to digest. So Kelly, it seems like these approaches tend to complicate things for that day, really, trying to label us bad and the abortion facility good. The abortion providers know that these people will be arrested, likely convicted, and removed from ministry for a significant period of time, which they're applauding. On the flip side, what can you tell us about how abortion workers view the peaceful approach of sidewalk advocates and other peaceful sidewalk counselors and prayer volunteers? How does that work differently from the perspective of the abortion workers?
Well, it's completely different. I mean, the initial view is that those people are extremists as well, of course. Right. But the reality is, through time, through relationship, through seeing a difference in the person with the bullhorn screaming you're a murderer and the person who's prayerfully standing there giving resources, giving bags of help, even speaking to the workers, telling them good morning, those kinds of things. It's noticed. It is definitely seen by the workers in the industry. The sad thing about this story, Lauren, is one of the people who was arrested for this Tennessee crime was a man who actually stood outside of the facility that I worked in. And wow. He was not able, because of the facility where I worked, there was a gate around it. And so you could not get very close to where sidewalk advocacy is nearly impossible, just because it's just a really difficult thing. Uh-huh. But that man would sometimes pray on the hill on top of our facility. And there would be times when he was prayerfully, peacefully, law-abiding praying outside of our facility, and the instrumentation in our facility would stop working. The autoclave would shut down. Our phone systems would go down. And when that happened, somebody would turn and say, is that man and his children outside praying? And now this person whose prayers were actually affecting the abortion industry, whose prayers were actually saving women because we were unable to do the procedures, he is now sitting in prison because he chose to do an unlawful thing. And that is really sad, because he may not know how effective his prayers were. And so for those of you who are on the sidewalk peacefully praying, know that your prayers matter. Like Abby Johnson, Planned Parenthood told her that up to 75% of women did not come for their appointments when there was a peaceful, prayerful witness outside of the abortion industry. We have countless workers who have left because of the peaceful witness outside of the abortion industry. And, you will never know, like you say, until, on this side of heaven, we won't know. But we will know what the difference is for these people who are going to prison, unfortunately, and they're not able to help anybody right now. And that's really, really sad. Yeah. And I hear some people employing this nowadays because they don't sometimes trust in the power of prayer and outreach to make a difference. And what you guys saw in the abortion industry was that when there was a consistent, peaceful, prayerful presence outside of a facility,
you did see it in the appointment book. You did notice that weird things were happening inside the facility. In fact, I think it's you or one of your fellow former workers, Kelly, who said that when we feel like nothing is happening, that's when a lot is happening, right? And just one little quip. I've got another question for you, Kelly, but just one little quip to everyone too, that I know that, it can feel frustrating when there's limited public right of way. We at Sidewalk Advocates for Life, we are nerds. Like, we have studied driveways and constitutional rights in driveways. And let me tell you that Sidewalk Advocates are amazing, by God's grace, in stopping cars in these driveways. We will teach you how to do it. You can flag so many people down. It is absolutely unbelievable. These people are invited to stop in a very influential way, and they want our information. They want to have a conversation. So again, that's a topic for another night, but I just want you to know it is possible. Now, one of the beautiful things, Kelly, about sidewalk advocacy is that it protects us from legal threats, right? I mean, how great is it that insofar as we know, this being the most effective approach, we are able to do it, day after day within the confines of our First Amendment rights, not get dragged off to jail. People sign the Pledge of Integrity, and we have 267 plus teams. None of our sidewalk advocates have ever been threatened with or charged under the FACE Act. That's miraculous. I want to ask you, as the leader of a Sidewalk Advocates for Life team, how have you addressed these tactics and resulting convictions? Do you feel like people are confused about some of these folks' insistence on breaking the law?
Yeah, it hasn't necessarily been an issue in my area because there is such a stark contrast on one of the sidewalks in the city of Richmond. There is a very evident contrast between the peaceful, prayerful witness and those that are not operating that way. And it's very easy to feel the difference spiritually in that. And then one of the other main ones, it just has a great presence out front and hasn't really had many issues with it. So I don't necessarily have it in my area where people are wanting to go in that direction. I think too, we are seeing women choose life. We are seeing things happen. And so that's helpful. But I will tell you the side who is moving in this direction, and that's the other side. The Women's March is right now sending out countless emails, raising money for bail money and for legal fees, because they are going to go in that direction. And, it concerns me if anybody here has been to one of the women's marches or been to an event where there have been pro-life people and there have been counter protesters, there is such a marked difference in the two sides. One is peaceful. One has the presence of Jesus and Holy Spirit, and you can feel it. And the other is angry and feels dark and feels chaotic and feels confusing and all of the things of the enemy. And I hate to see our side, the pro-life side, going into the side of chaos and confusion and rebellion and doing those things when we don't need to do that. We have the keys. We have proven methods that work for saving moms, saving babies, changing hearts, changing minds, having good conversation, good civil discourse on the sidewalk with people that oppose us. That is much more effective. Seeing workers leave. The fact that one of the main ways abortion workers find and then there were none is through sidewalk advocates is such a testament to the work that is being done and how this method is effective. I don't know how many lives have been saved through these, modern day rescue missions, but I can tell you that not one worker has come to our ministry from them. And so there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. And I think you informed us that about 50%, roughly half of those coming to you, got information from someone on the sidewalk. I mean, also on the flip side, it's a credit to your in-reach into facilities too, that the other half are coming that way. But wow, if that isn't a testimony to how effective this is, even when we don't feel it all the time, right? We have the evidence right in front of us. Kelly, this has just been an amazing discussion. Thank you so much for it. One more thing that I want to ask you before you go. I'm sure many people know who you are and have heard your testimony, but you have yourself walked through many challenges and you are so positive. What is it that helps you to keep that positive outlook, even as the movement is now dealing with the most pro-abortion administration ever in our history and a weaponized Department of Justice?
Well, I talk about me personally and other people. If God can save me, he can save anybody. If God can heal me, he can heal anybody. If God can restore and redeem me, he can restore and redeem anybody. And ultimately, we know who is on the throne, and it is King Jesus. Whether Joe Biden is in office or someone else is in office, the true King of Kings and Lord of Lords is Jesus Christ. And so we just have to put our faith in that and put our trust in that. We know who wins in the end. Now, that doesn't mean we don't battle on our knees and we don't fight to be a witness, of truth and of hope and of love to this lost and dying world around us. But we have to keep our confidence in him, because if you take your eyes off of Jesus, you will get discouraged. And so, just keep focusing on him, and with that, you will have hope.
So good. Couldn't have said it any better. Real quick, as we close out here, I want to bring Nate back into the discussion. Nate, your thoughts as we get ready to transition here.
Wow. I mean, we could just sit here all night and talk to Kelly Lester and let her explain all of these really powerful points about how important it is that we are focused on the right things, right? I mean, isn't it so simple? I mean, it really boils down to that. Are we focusing on the right things, the things that truly change people's hearts and minds? And, folks, you hear it tonight straight from someone who has been in the abortion industry, who has herself walked through abortion, and who knows how the industry reacts to these kind of law-breaking tactics. This is why we at Sidewalk Advocates for Life and so many others across the nation are so committed to being peaceful, prayerful, and law-abiding. Again, Kelly, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to know you and to count you as a friend of mine. So thank you again for being with us tonight.
Thank you, Kelly.
Some of my favorite people are on the screen right now. So thanks for having me on to see your faces.
Ours too.
Great.
Thanks again, Kelly.
Thanks, Kelly.
That really, truly was incredible. And we are so thankful for all of our friends in the movement and our awesome Sidewalk Advocates who make sure to stay the course. Now, I'm so happy to introduce to you Missy-Martinez Stone, another one of our favorites, of the Center for Client Safety, which strategically aligns with pro-life advocates in local communities to investigate and shut down dangerous abortion providers. I love this. I love working with Missy. I get so fired up because it's so amazing what we can do together. So thank you again for being with us tonight, Missy. Thanks for being
me. I'm always so happy to be here.
Well, Missy, these recent FACE Act convictions of these pro-life activists have been, very much on our minds, right? It's been a big topic. And it's true that law-breaking approach may shut an abortion facility down, I don't know, for a few hours, maybe half a day. It causes some chaos, right? But it's also true that those facilities always reopen. And usually they're reopening the same day or the next day. So I'd love to talk with you about just the reality of how we in this new modern day era have a way to shut down abortion facilities permanently, for good. We can do it. We've proven it. You guys are doing such amazing work. So can you tell us a little bit about how the Center for Client Safety works with the community to do just that?
Yeah, the Center for Client Safety was actually born out of the necessity of pro-life advocates needing a place to take the information that they were seeing outside of the abortion facility or talking to the clients when they knew illegal activity or violations were occurring. Before us, there was never really a consistent, safe, confidential place to take that information that wasn't just media exposure, right? And so the Center for Client Safety was purely started to fill that gap. And the ultimate goal is to take the information that faithful, loving, compassionate pro-life advocates are witnessing outside of these facilities, the illegal behavior that they see, the violations that they identify talking to these women, investigating it, and then getting it into the hands of the authorities in a way that they can act on it. And, you know, we've used this strategy. We've permanently shut down 2 abortion facilities already in our 3 years of existence. We've had 2 abortionists stop practicing. One is banned from doing OBGYN care, you know, for the rest of his, you know, medical career. We've had multiple facilities sued and disciplined in different ways. And we have 2 more coming down the line. So there's a way to shut down the abortion facilities by just investigating and identifying what they're doing wrong and taking it to the right authorities.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so clear, right? There is a way to do this in a way that empowers the agencies in these states to get involved and to take care of bad actors, as we've called them, or those who are harming women. And obviously, we have found several of those. You know, one of those most famous, I think, that we've worked on together is the Pensacola situation, and just how it works when a state is willing to do their part, and when we have people who are willing to make sure that it's clear and that the evidence is being provided to make that happen. So, you know, on that note, I know that our Sidewalk Advocates reach out to you and your team to share what they are observing, you know, on the sidewalk. Can you talk about how partnerships like that really do help the Center for Client Safety permanently shut down a facility?
They don't just help us. We cannot do it without them, right? So I cannot be at every abortion facility. I have 2 investigators that work on my team. We don't know what's going on, but you as the Sidewalk Advocates do. You are the eyes and the ears. You are the advocates to these women to say what happened to you was wrong. And there's a place that we can take that information. So without Sidewalk Advocates and without pregnancy center workers, we don't have information. We don't have the violations to take to these agencies. And, you know, when we started, we made it very clear from the beginning that we were going to be partners. We are going to work together. We are going to come into these communities and say, how can we all come together in a united front and shut down this abortion facility, find out how they are breaking the law, get that information to us, and then let us do our part. But the whole goal is let you guys be the best sidewalk advocates that you can be. You focus on your sidewalk advocacy, and we focus on, you know, running down the research and finding the violations and chasing down the bureaucrats and, you know, following up on these cases while you guys stay out there and advocate for these women and offer, you know, life-saving resources. And so we actually just launched this week our client safety initiative. And it's a resource that Sidewalk Advocates and Pregnancy Center team members can actually give directly to the women so that they can report themselves. ClientSafetyAdvocates.org is now a brand new reporting site. So not only can you guys bring us that information, but now we're offering it. Now it's accessible to the women themselves. So, but we wouldn't be able to get that to them if we didn't have Sidewalk Advocates out on the sidewalk reaching out to them.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the partnership's so clear, and it works together, right? I mean, this is the whole point, right? That Sidewalk Advocates, pregnancy help organizations are there to be the eyes and the ears, and then to feed you all the information, and only the necessary information. You know, your team and our teams have talked about really all you need is date, time, location, right? And you guys to go start working to dig it up. So we love it. It's so important. And it is how we permanently dismantle the abortion industry. So, you know, with all that being said, in your experience, how do these more confrontational modern day rescues, quote unquote, it's hard for me to even talk about it without air quotes. How do these modern day rescue tactics impact the broader pro-life community and the movement? And more specifically, your efforts to permanently close a facility?
Yeah, I kind of see it as a short-term fix versus a long-term solution. Like, we are playing the long game. Our investigations take upwards, like we're going on 4 years on one location in particular. And it's finally about to be resolved. The facility is probably going to be closed. Yeah. But it doesn't have that media splash, that big, boom that these rescues do. But what I'm saying is in the long term, even though it requires a lot more investment, a lot more time, a lot more work, we are seeing long-term results. Like there are cities in Florida that do not have abortion facilities in their city limits because of the work that we did. And those facilities did not reopen. And it is proven that if abortion facilities are not accessible, women are 25% more likely to carry to term, to parent their child. And so we are looking at this going, lives were literally saved in these cities because these abortion facilities closed. But when we see the rescues, my concern is what the narrative is that they are shutting down the facility, right? They're shutting down the facility for an hour. We are not shutting down facilities. They are shutting themselves down because they are refusing to abide by basic medical health and safety standards. And so it's not even my fault. I'll say people have tried to use it against me. I'm like, I didn't shut them down. They shut themselves down. And to me, that is a more winning strategy because it's not anything that we did. They did it to themselves. They are unwilling to meet these standards, to meet basic health and safety guidelines. And you want to talk to someone who's on the fence about abortion, that's something that's going to be very concerning to them, And so I'm just focusing on what are they doing wrong and how can we hold them accountable for that? It's nothing that we are doing. And I see it as just having better long-term results.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And I mean, I just love it. It's so simple. It's not that you are doing something like pulling some sneaky tactic. You're just trying to hold them accountable to basic standards.
Yeah.
And when they refuse to comply, well, they shut themselves down.
Yeah. And I'll say this too. One of the biggest distinguishing factors of the Center for Client Safety and our effectiveness in working with these agencies is because we're nice and we're reasonable.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding when I say when people take these more extreme tactics, they come across as unreasonable, and not trustworthy. And agencies are very unwilling to work with them because they don't trust their narrative. They come across as unreasonable. So when I walk in and I'm winsome and kind and empathetic dealing with these agencies and I want to work with them, it has opened doors that other pro-lifers have spent over a decade trying to get into these offices. And I walked right in because I was kind and I was reasonable and I wasn't using very, drastic language. I wasn't taking those drastic steps, and it just allowed them to kind of put their guard down and go okay, we're talking to somebody that we can actually have a professional conversation with. And bottom line is I get results.
Yeah. And it just, again, reminds all of us that when we lead with kindness, when we lead with compassion, it, gets us a lot further most of the time than when we're seen as those who can't be trusted or fanatical. So thank you again, Missy, so much. We're so appreciative of your perspective and all that you do to save women and families from abortion, to save communities from the scourge of abortion.
Yeah. We truly could not do this without you guys. You are just a pillar in our organization. We wouldn't have the information that we have if we didn't have faithful Sidewalk Advocates that have been trained up and mentored by your organization. Between you guys and Heartbeat and other frontline workers is what I call them, we would not be able to be successful. So we are so happy to work with you guys. And I need to send you guys our new information to get out to the Sidewalk Advocates. We want to get these postcards out to everybody so you can hand them out to the women you're serving so they can report themselves. If you don't get a chance to talk to them, they can report their experience themselves. And we take those cases and we handle them with care and kindness and make sure they get the help that they need, but also hold the abortion facility accountable for the harm that they caused.
Absolutely. We cannot wait. I saw them the other day. I can't wait to get them in the hands of Sidewalk Advocates. So this was really great, Missy. Thanks again. That really was beautiful. Lauren, what would you like to add?
Yeah, it's really hard to add anything to that. But what I will say, there's something that Missy said to me a while back that always stuck with me. And that is that if this facility is in the business of taking innocent lives and hurting women, they probably aren't somewhere following the law. And we as Sidewalk Advocates have a unique opportunity as the ears and eyes of our communities to stay attentive and to report this to Center for Client Safety so that we can permanently shut these places down.
That's right.
And the other thing that I want to say too is that some of you, this may be rolling around in your minds or hearts that, who wants to be nice when it comes to the issue of abortion? I mean, we've got millions of children who've lost their lives underneath this lie, this banner of so-called safe and legal choice. And my response to that would be a smart person. The verse that comes to me is from the scriptures where it says, I become all things to all men that all might be saved. In other words, that we are for that woman who she needs us to be. And when we walk into some of these offices, when we dialogue with some of these agencies, we have to be seen as approachable people as well, or we're not going to get anywhere with people, right? And a lot of people don't know that these things are going on. And we can walk into these offices with our case that the abortion facility is laying out for, us themselves, and we can get the job done. That's what I care the most about is, are we getting the ball across the line?
That's right. So
to me, it just speaks volumes that we have results with the Center for Client Safety, and Sidewalk Advocates have been able to, they have a place to take this information, because I guarantee you go stand outside of an abortion facility, you are going to hear and see some odd things beyond just the sadness of watching women walk out after their appointments. You will see and hear odd things, and we can take that information somewhere and do something about it. Right. Yeah. It's good.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Lauren. That was really so great. And now we are to the point in the evening. I mean, I don't know how it can get any better, but we're at the point in the evening where we have a huge announcement to make. Lauren, how about that?
That's right. Guys, thank you so much. I know we're just about at the hour mark, but this is a huge announcement. Stay with us for just a few more minutes where we can let you know about this huge opportunity to save more lives and to end abortion. Again, before I jump into the big announcement, I do want to thank Kelly and Missy again for their incredible work and their witness tonight. Please give them some love in the comments. I know you guys have already been having a huge discussion around what they contributed tonight. We're so grateful for their voices and their partnership. One thing that was so beautiful to me is I remember coming back from Christmas break, and we got an email in our inbox, and it was from our Sidewalk Advocates in Sarasota, Florida. And the first abortion shift that they had at the top of 2014, a baby was saved. And it was just by simply handing that mom life-affirming resources. We got another email soon after that from Bloomington, Indiana, where Monica and her daughters and their team of Sidewalk Advocates had interfaced with a young woman who had been pressured by her doctor, of all people, to have an abortion. And this woman kept saying, "You mean I don't have to have an abortion? I don't?" And Monica's daughter looked at her and said, "No, you don't have to, and we can help you." And they walked her right next door to the Pregnancy Resource Center. And they were able to soon after meet her daughter, Grace. I mean, this is happening day in and day out. I think on average, every single day in the ministry, by God's grace, we're seeing at least a dozen children saved through prayer and peaceful outreach. It is incredible. It really just comes down to the presence of professionally trained Sidewalk Advocates. We give women gift bags filled with love and with resources. We impart to them the peace of Christ, and we share with them a warm smile. Sidewalk advocacy really is that simple. It's that straightforward. And most of all, it's incredibly effective. It's something that every community needs, right? We need God's people outside of these facilities until the day that they shut down. Now, it is miraculous to think that we are nearing the 2-year anniversary of the Dobbs decision, and so much progress has been made, but so much remains to be done, right? 14 states that pretty much protect life, 36 to go. So it is paramount. We can see that Sidewalk Advocates for Life is needed more than ever. We all need to come together around this mission. We need to be in every state, at every single one of the hundreds of abortion and abortion referral facilities across the country. And yes, if you are in an abortion restricted state like I am, I'm in the great state of Texas. We protect life at conception. But a lot of people don't realize that the abortion industry is still on the ground in the form of these abortion referral centers. And they are working to get our Texas women, for example, to go 300, 600 miles away to the next nearest abortion facility. We have gateways in our pro-life states to the next nearest abortion facility, or the means to allow them to order mail order abortion causing drugs, right? Travel for abortion is 5 times higher than it was in 2020, which means that no community is safe. We still have women in our community tonight who are in a valley of decision about abortion. So whether it's legal, illegal, limited, or we are embroiled in a legal battle, women in our community need loving, life-affirming resources. We can be there to stand in the gap between life and death, providing real hope and help. So just imagine with me, if every single community, if every pregnant woman knew exactly where she could turn for resources and support. Imagine if every person on the sidewalk outside of an abortion facility adopted a prayerful, law-abiding, effective approach that even a weaponized DOJ could not find fault with. That's the kind of strategy we need. That's exactly where you and I can make a life-changing difference. So it's paramount. It's clear we need to be there. So right now, Sidewalk Advocates for Life covers 34%, so just over a third of abortion and abortion referral facilities in the country. But what's heavy on my heart, people walk up to me at events, they go, Lauren, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. And I have a moment with them and I say, yes, it is. But what's heavy on my heart is there's so many people who are walking into these facilities with no one there. No one is there. And I know that if we can get there, many of them would turn around. As a people of life in Christ, we cannot let that stand. So tonight, I'm making a plea for you all to partner with us, to help us to cover more of these facilities. And the only thing holding us back from covering all uncovered abortion and abortion referral facilities in the country is funding. It costs us at Sidewalk Advocates for Life $2,000 to set up one team to train, equip, and support one new team of Sidewalk Advocates at a particular location. Now, it is worth every penny, but it is expensive because we get them quality training, full-time staff support, an array of tools that continues to expand in post-Roe America. And here's where you can help. You have an opportunity. We have an opportunity tonight to expand this life-saving outreach immediately. So here's what's so amazing. A generous group of ministry partners has banded together to offer us, to challenge us with a $250,000 matching fund challenge. It kicks off tonight to keep this life-saving mission moving forward. So your generous gift is instantly doubled. So if you give $100, it becomes $200. If you can help us to start a new team of Sidewalk Advocates for $2,000, if you can make a $2,000 gift tonight, you can actually help 2 teams because it will be instantly doubled, right? And so forth. So in order to give tonight, you can click the offers button on your screen, right? So you can go to offers and then the make a gift button to give. And again, it will take you to our secure giving site where you can make a gift. And tonight, as I see the gifts come in, I'm going to go ahead and give those folks a shout out. I'm going to say your first name and the state that you're in, and we'll keep you confidential, right? But I do want to give you a shout out tonight for helping this great work move forward. Now, when you go to offers and you click the make a gift button, just note that if you're on a desktop or laptop computer, it will open a separate window so you can stay connected to us here on the webcast. But if you're on a mobile device, it might redirect you to a new window. Don't worry about that. If you're on a mobile device, you can quickly make your gift and hit the back button, and you will rejoin the webcast at that point. Now, again, we understand that so many of you, because of your particular vocation or station in life, you are not able to get to the sidewalk. I will never forget what one of our dear partners, a businessman named Andrew in Louisiana, a dear friend of mine, said to me as he made a $5,000 gift just after we had kicked off one of these events. He said, Lauren, I can't get to the sidewalk, but this is my way of getting to the sidewalk. And it never left me, that sacrifice that he made so that he could be a part of saving lives and ending abortion. Again, even if you do go to the sidewalk, this bonus matching opportunity is really something that doesn't come around all the time, right? It's an opportunity for all of us to give. So even if you do go to the sidewalk and you are able to help with a $25, $100, $500, $2,500 gift tonight, it will make a very real difference in the lives of moms and babies. And what I want you to know, my pledge to you all tonight as the president and CEO of Sidewalk Advocates for Life, America's largest sidewalk outreach organization, is that every penny that you commit to tonight, we will stretch it as far as we can to save the most lives, impact the most eternal souls, and close the most abortion facilities. Once again, you can click the offers button, then the make a gift button to give. Again, we are just in such a unique place in history. We are ready to run. We have the infrastructure at this point in history to add dozens and dozens more abortion facilities if we can get the funding. We're already in front of 267 facilities across the United States, Puerto Rico, Mexico City, and Colombia. And just that presence right then and there has saved more than 22,000 babies. Can we imagine the impact if we are able to cover another abortion facility and another abortion facility? Every $2,000, we are able to train, equip, and support a new team of sidewalk advocates. Again, our goal is that we would reach every sidewalk, every soul with this life-saving message. And again, what an opportunity that we can give tonight, and we can double our impact. So again, 50 becomes 100, $500 becomes $1,000, $2,500 becomes $5,000. That doesn't happen every day, right? So again, if your heart is moved, we invite you to partner with us tonight. Nate, this has been a dynamic evening. We've covered a lot of territory. I know that a lot of people are making decisions right now. In just a second, we are going to say first names and states. By the way, I'm seeing in the chat that some people are having trouble finding the link. I'm going to go ahead and put the link here just as Nate gets ready to lead us in a prayer.
I put it down there too. So
did you? Okay, good.
People are having trouble with the offers button. You can go directly to sidewalkadvocates.org/donate and you can give right there.
And that will count as well. So everything coming in tonight, it will be instantly doubled. So again, sidewalkadvocates.org/donate, or if you're able to, you can click the offers button, the make a gift button, and it will be instantly doubled. And we definitely want to thank people tonight. So thank you ahead of time. Nate, as we're all discerning what it is the Lord is calling us to do with this incredible opportunity, would you be willing to lead us in a word of prayer?
Absolutely. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you so much for this time we've had together. Thank you for what you're doing through Sidewalk Advocates for Life. Thank you for what your desire is to do in the future. This is your mission. We're just trying to play a part in it. And God, your desire is that women and men would always have accurate information before they make a life-changing decision regarding anything in their life, but especially when it comes to the life of their children. God, we just pray that tonight, as people are discerning their part to play financially, God, that you would move on their hearts, that you would speak to them, and that they would be open to listen to you as you ask them to give to this mission. God, I specifically am asking tonight for those who can give $2,000 to help us to start and resource a new team. Those who can possibly even give $10,000 or more tonight to help us to propel the mission forward and cover 5 sidewalks. God, we just pray that you would move on our hearts, each and every one of us, in the way that we are to be a part of this great mission as we fight what truly is the greatest human rights battle of all times. God, I pray that you would continue to bless Sidewalk Advocates for Life and all of those organizations that we partner with, that you would continue to bless the work of Missy-Martinez Stone and of Kelly Lester and everything that they are doing as they bring attention to the issues that are so vital to moving our culture closer to a culture of life. God, I just pray that you would continue to bless us tonight and that you would continue to bless each of those who give. as they discern a gift tonight or throughout this campaign. And God, we thank you for meeting our needs of matching, of reaching this goal of this matching gift offer of the $250,000. We'll continue to give you the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Nate. All right, I want to go ahead and thank some people who have given tonight. We're so, so grateful. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and put the donate link in because some people are still saying they're having a hard time finding it. Nate put it down there, sidewalkadvocates.org/donate. I really would love to give you a shout out tonight. So we're going to say first name and state. All right. So I'm going to start from the top and go down, and we're even going to go back just a little bit. So let's see here. I first want to thank Randall. Oh, and it actually doesn't tell me the state, but Randall, you know who you are. And we are so grateful for you. Our last system told us the state that the gift came in from. So sorry about that. But Randall H., super grateful for you. Thank you so much for your sacrifice tonight. To Rosa M., really appreciate your sacrifice as well. Again, all of this is instantly doubled tonight, folks. This is such a gift to have. So thank you, Rosa, for your sacrifice. Really appreciate you. To Ross S. Ross, thank you so much for that generous gift. It really is a huge blessing. Let's see, we've got another gift that just came in from Matt and Eve N. Thank you, Matt and Eve. A huge, huge blessing. That is instantly doubled as well. Let me go ahead and do a quick search here because we had a couple that came in just ahead of the webcast, and it did count towards the match. Alice W., thank you for your gift. I know you were part of the match here. So grateful. That's a real great blessing. Landon P., we appreciate you as well. Thank you for your sacrifice. Natalie G., your gift was instantly doubled. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Huge blessing. Julie M., huge blessing. Julie's also out on the sidewalk, so appreciate her as well and her witness out on the sidewalk. Again, as these come in, I want to give you a shout out and just thank you guys so much for keeping all of this going. So Jim and Michelle G., thank you both so, so very much. Again, your gift is instantly doubled tonight. That's a blessing that'll go towards training, equipping, and supporting a new team of Sidewalk Advocates. All right, we'll hang out here for just a little bit longer. In case any more come in and we can give people a shout out. Again, sidewalkadvocates.org/donate. I'd love to be able to thank a couple more people before we hop off tonight. I don't always get to thank people publicly during the campaign, right? We just see it come in. We always say a prayer of thanksgiving. But again, thank you all so much for being a part of this historical discussion tonight. There's a lot going on in the pro-life movement. I'm really encouraged that we can come together really in a spirit of learning, understanding, just to figure out, again, what is continuing to work well at these facilities. Our goal here at Sidewalk Advocates for Life is not to just do something, but insofar as research, testimony, and lived experience has shown us and taught us, are we doing the most effective thing to help save the most children, impact the most eternal souls, and shut down the most facilities? That's why we exist. I joke quite often that I can't wait to put myself out of business and have a rescue dog farm. Isn't that true, Nate?
That's right. We know you want to do that as soon as possible.
Right. Yeah. I joke that I save humans and dogs, right? But in all seriousness, can we have the spirit, the attitude that we can't wait to look forward to doing something else? Again, not that people aren't going to need resources in the new era, but the idea here is that we're not just doing something, we want to be doing the most effective thing in order to move the ball across the line, right? So, okay, let's keep going here. We are super excited with all the gifts that are coming in. We just had a monthly commitment come in from Lita. That is very generous. Lita, thank you so much. And again, I just want to let everybody know, if you want to be like Lita tonight and sign up for a monthly gift, that really is a huge blessing for us because it's something that we can depend on as we continue to build these teams across the United States. As many of you know, Nate and I have been in many of your communities, been to the sidewalks, and there to support our sidewalk advocates. And when we know that these gifts are coming in, even more than just beyond the present month, we're able to plan better. We're able to help people in a more predictable way. And so it really is a huge blessing. But again, we are so blessed, whatever it is that you guys can do. All right. Another gift came in from Norman G. Norman, thank you very much for that gift. We are so blessed. Nate, this has been a wonderful evening. I'm so grateful for the discussion that we've had tonight. Thanks to all of you for staying on with us a few extra minutes. We will have the recording of this event come out in the next few days. So be sure to watch advocates.org. You can get on our listserv there, and you'll be one of the first to know about the recording. You can share it with your friends and neighbors. Please help us to spread the word. Our heart is that no woman, no family would be walking into one of these facilities without God's people there. And even then, we're looking to deploy a team of online sidewalk advocates soon to interface with women online before they're tempted to order mail order abortion causing drugs. Wherever women are, we want to be. That's what the gospel tells us. That's who we're called to be, the hands and feet of Jesus, to reach out to the least of these, to reach out to the orphan, or to be there for the orphan, to reach out to the widow, to make a difference in the kingdom. That's our heart here at Sidewalk Advocates for Life. So thank you all so much for being a part of this. Before we go, I got to give a shout out to David F. as well. Got a gift that just trickled in from him. Thank you all very much. If you'd like to send us a note about how you enjoyed the webcast, info@sidewalkadvocates.org. We'd love to hear from you, info@sidewalkadvocates.org. And we look forward to being in contact in the next few weeks to let you know how the match is going. So go to sidewalkadvocates.org, get on our listserv if you want to track and see how the matching challenge is going. We'd love your support. We'd love your prayers. Thank you guys so much. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Have a great evening. Have a good evening, Nate. Thank you.
Good night. See ya. Bye.